Hello, on this material I wanted to show you how to continue sketching the light sources on the Primaris Marine armor. Earlier we started only the front, so you can see some parts of the main light source that we wanted to show from the front of the miniature are sketched, but some aren't, so we can continue doing it. After making this, I will show how to plan light sources from different angles. So you can see that if we rotate the miniature, this light source doesn't work on every angle, but we can use it. So I will show you. I prepared the colors as earlier, so you can see all the transitions from shadows, midtones and highlights. So we will use them to first. We will use them to sketch. So let's jump ahead to a brighter color. So here I started sketching, so we can continue. Just this place. So looking from this side, you will see that the light will fall on the surface, on this bend, and also the next thing is adding more highlight here, just on the crevice, and here, and here. Also you can see that the plate on his shoulder also will have light, and here also you can represent by placing a highlight here and here. So try thinking about geometrical shapes, as I mentioned it earlier. Most of the armors of Space Marines, other humans, are based on cylinders. So most of the time we will have lines of highlight like on a cylinder. So his arm here will have a line like this on the whole arm. So here we add highlights here on this surface, even if it's flat, and here. Yeah, also on his arm, on his fingers, also lines. So we can see that those places will catch more light. Okay. Just don't worry about details, because we will add them later. This is only a sketch, so we'll refine it. So on this arm you can see that we also will have a line of highlight on all those plates and also on the fingers. So we can place some brighter paint here, also here. On the fingers, and here you can see some lines that are combining the armor plates, so also we can mark them a little. And also here on this place will catch light. So you can see that from the front we'll have highlights here. Also on the shoulder pads you can see there will be a little light from this side will be visible. So it will be visible in this place. But the main highlight will be from the different side, but we should add a little light here just to show that the shoulder pad is also highlighted from this side, and also on the second shoulder pad. Also on the second shoulder pad you can see that there will be more light here. Okay. And now for the head. You can see that the head can be interpreted as not as a cylinder but as a sphere, such as here the leg guards. You will see a main highlight on the top of the head. Okay, let's take a little more thinner and paint on the top of the head. Also here on those places, on those details. Some lines under his eyes and on the front. And here we'll have also a main highlight. So it will be just like this, like on a sphere. So also we can add a little more light here and here, those two details, but that's it. So here we have the first highlight, first sketch of the armor. So now let's strengthen it. So using a little more brighter color. So here, so just cover all the surfaces that we covered earlier, but on a smaller surface, and just to mark more light. If you happen to put paint where you don't want it to be, then you can always wash it away with water if you are fast enough. So that's not a problem. So here you can see that we have earlier sketched the shape and the highlight just like on a cylinder. So we can strengthen it. So we can highlight all the edges, just a smaller surface, just to generate contrast. Just like the fingers. So you can see that it's taking shape. Yeah. Also, we've done it here. Just try to leave some part of the earlier sketch unpainted. So we always highlighting. We always want to cover less surface, just to generate the transition. But in the end, we want the armor to be not very bright, but dark. So we only paint the places where we want the light to be reflected from the polished armor. You even can sketch just lines, so it will also work. But try adding more. Also the fingers. The main trick is to imagine the light source. So if you always have in mind from which direction the light source is falling on the miniature, you can always plan all the highlights correctly. And we are sketching this now, because if we would start painting it from the beginning, making it smooth, probably it's very easy to focus on distinct parts like this arm and this arm, but we want all the parts to work together, so it's better to sketch them at first and then just blend them, because now we place the light source and you will see if it will work on the whole miniature or it won't work, because even if we place something wrong, you can always overpaint it with a darker color, and we haven't put a lot of work in this detail, so it will take less time, and also it will be easier to plan for you. So just placing the highlights, yeah, and now the shoulder pads. So you can see that the light will be more light will be here, and the shoulder pads are also shaped like a something like a sphere, and also this one. Yeah. And now for the head. So here you can see that's also the place that I mentioned earlier. It's a part of the sphere, so we can see that. Just look at those details not as distinct plates. So here we have some shadows, but all in all the whole surface looks like a sphere. So focus on reflecting those shapes, not the details at this stage. Okay, so this is the next part of the sketch. So you can see it's rough, but we'll smoothen it out. And also we can add more highlights, just only in some places. So let's take almost almost white and okay. So let's take almost white and just add even more highlight, even more contrast to all those plates. But just on the edges and small surfaces. Okay. So you can see that the sketch, the light sketch is ready from this side. Yeah. So we have some focus points. We have geometrical shapes that are represented. So you can see that's a highlight on the sphere. Also some highlights on plates here and here on cylinders. So you can see that it looks like a hole. So you can see that he has arms stretched, and the highlights are placed here, also here. The next thing is because we've planned it only from one side. Yeah, even we can probably we could shift this highlight a little to the right, so we can do it. So at this point it's easy to correct those places that you don't think they fit. Just overpaint the previous sketch. But it's very important at this stage to have a coherent light source representation on the whole miniature. So probably looking from this side, you can see that there will be a line of highlight. So here will be more light on this place, on his forehead. So this will work better when looking at the whole miniature. The next thing is we can always rotate the miniature. We can look from different angles. Every miniature has its own angles. So for this one, for me it wasn't very natural to look from this side, because we show the front of his helmet, we show his sword, and also the bolter that he is targeting, with which he is targeting someone. So for me this is the front view of the miniature. We also will have the back view. Even if you look at the miniature from above, you can see that it has you can divide the miniature into views. So probably the second light source we could sketch here from this side. But if we want in the miniature to have more reflections, if we want to fill all the places that are dark. So here we can always rotate a little and also sketch secondary reflections on those plates to show the leg from this side and also the chest piece. Because if we will look from this side, we will give a more reflective surface. So you can see, you can sketch it. Even on those plates. So yeah, I try to imagine a next line of highlight here to show this leg, show this part of the armor, here the chest piece. But the only thing is that if you want to achieve a main light source, and we wanted this one to be the main light source, here on the secondary light source we don't want a big contrast, so we can lessen the highlights a little, probably for looking at our colors. Probably we shouldn't use those three colors, maximally this one. So you will have the difference, because if the rest we will paint it with those colors also, there will be more light, more focus, and this one will be the secondary light source that won't attract that much attention. Also here. Here on his leg guard, So those two parts are also parts of a cylinder, also the whole leg is mostly. So we want it to be visible on those parts, also here and here. Yeah, and also on this part. Yeah, here's a sphere, but we can also add a secondary light source here. So just plan. It will help you if you paint some miniatures like this, even sketch. Sometimes if you will have more experience, you won't need the light source sketch because you will have it in mind. But it's very important to do it, even for me, because it speeds things up. Even if you would cover this light sketch with darker colors, maybe mid-tones, they would look more saturated. So it's easier to achieve transitions on such a sketch than on a pure dark surface. Also a little here. The foot from the second set. So this is the darkest color, but let's add more brighter colors. So okay, so we have the we don't want to push the highlights more, because we want to lessen, because this one should be a secondary light source, so we don't want to much focus from this side. But if we rotate the miniature, you can see that all the highlights that were painted here are filling the miniature, because we won't have that much dark surface on this side, but it will add a little more reflection to the armor. So the same we can do from different sides, and I will sketch this and show you later and explain how it works. So as you can see, I've made the whole sketch of the light sources on the armor. So we finished, last time we finished on the front only, but I've painted all the highlights on the whole miniature. So as I mentioned it earlier, this one is the front view. So we want to show the front of the miniature, and it's important for us because it tells a story. So here all the highlights were stronger, almost to white. And also we should show the back of the miniature. So here also the highlights are strong, almost white. So you can see on the back we stick to the shapes of the cylinders on the hand, legs, also here on this hand. So just to show the placement of the light. And also I added secondary light sources. So here on the leg, in this line will be a next one. Also under the armor, because if the armor reflects, you can see it. If the armor reflects light, it will also reflect the light that is bouncing from the surrounding, so from the ground. So if you imagine that the light falls from above, it will be bounced back on the miniature from the ground. So you can imagine it just as falling on the ground and bouncing on the miniature. And also here on the leg, you can see the highlight, the secondary highlight, also on the arms. So we can divide this miniature into 4 light sources. Two of them will be the main light source. This will be the first one, this will be the second one, and we'll also use 2 secondary light sources just to highlight the elements from the bottom, from the side, just to fill the places that are darker. But we can imagine the surrounding being reflected in the miniature or the ground. So, and here's the next line that I showed earlier. Yeah, and if we look at the front, we will always have a rim light from the second light source. Here also on this side we will see a rim light, so it adds the feeling of 3 dimensions and sets more focus on the main view.